Hey there, welcome to Erlengrot. I'm Mighty Mike, and this is my Net Zero Farming Experience series. I'm going to try some things here in game to try and simulate a farm that is operating on the principles of net zero and see what we can do. If you don't know what net zero means, basically it's just a goal or a target of negating the amount of greenhouse gases that are produced by human activities. You can do that either by reducing emissions or through methods of absorbing carbon dioxide, such as planting trees and other things. So what we're going to do here on this series is we're going to try and get through the farming activities, get through some seasons of growth here on the farm, try and make some money. And we'll have some things set up here that will kind of simulate some penalties or give us some goals to work through in order to be able to use different equipment. So actually you see here the mower is real dirty. Been using the mower to mow up all the grass here around the farm. So I am sitting here trying to get some battery charge back on this little electric tractor. So this is one of the pieces of equipment we have, is this battery operated tractor, and it actually is able to run quite a bit of the equipment I have picked out around the farm. So let's take a look at the map here real quick. We're on Erlengrot, and this area right here is the starting location if you started in new farmer mode. So to reference there, we're kind of due south in this field here. See it highlighted in blue? See my equipment here. We'll do a quick tour around the farm. We do have some sheep here. We have 10 sheep. We'll take a look. They have... they're pretty full on food, so they're doing okay for right now. And then we'll get to the cows. We do have a solar panel roofed shed there. And you see we do have a bale loader trailer. We have a bigger mower and a bale wrapper. Got this Steyr 9270 here. It is quite powerful, 270-ish horsepower or something like that. So we're going to use that eventually, but right now we can't. So that is one of the things we'll talk about here during this playthrough. We'll go through the equipment real quick. We have a battery operated Kramer. We got some tools for the front of it. We got a baler. It only does 125 centimeter bales, so I cannot change the size. We have a rake and a tedder. We got our little workshop trigger there, and then over here we have this nice cow barn. See the cows in here eating. The cows do need some food. I only had one bale put in here, so they are getting low on food. So we do need to work on that. Then we have down here just a bulk goods shed. And then if we jump up in the air here, you see here I've already mowed this field here. I used that front mower on the rigid track. We've got this mowed up. What I'm going to do is make this into hay. And then if we come up the hill here, so I own that field here that you see cut. There's our house right over there. And then if we come up with the field here, you see we have all of this up here that have bales on it. So I went ahead and mowed all of this ahead of time. I used the rigid track, used the windrow with the rigid track as well, and then also baled it with the rigid track. Now the rigid track does okay with the baler. It is a little bit underpowered. I think it has 68 horsepower, or that's what it's rated at. And the baler requires 100, so surprisingly it works. The problem I ran into is over here. It's pretty steep, so trying to get up and down this, well, up this hill, that was tough. But you may see some of these bales out around that are already wrapped. So what I had done is ran around the field after I got it mowed and took the rake around and did a headland, and then came around and wrapped those. And there's a reason for that. What we're going to do on this series is I'm going to have to be producing or simulating the production of some sort of green energy. So those bales, those silage bales, are going to be taken down to the biogas plant. So that will simulate us being able to provide a source of production for the green energy. And then we'll be able to use diesel tractors. So I've got to use all electric unless I am able to produce some green energy to offset our activities. The other thing, maybe an option, is to plant trees as well as put in some solar panels. So we got some options on what we can do to offset our carbon footprint here. The other thing we're going to try to do is use as little fertilizer as possible. We're going to use natural things such as slurry manure, or use the field rollers to rejuvenate the grasslands. Alright, so I'm going to get going on the tedding here on this field. It won't take too long to get the grass turned over and made into hay. I've actually been quite surprised by this little tractor. It's done everything I've asked of it so far. It does struggle on the hills some, but that's to be expected. Some of the hills around here are steep, so pulling the equipment up the hill is pretty tough on it. But it's actually doing really well. Very, very pleased with it. So I do want to be able to use the bigger tractor, but like I said, to be able to do that, I'm going to have to be offsetting that activity. So I am running seasons, and I do have everything turned on: plowing line, rocks, weeds, all of that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of activities we have to do, a lot of manual work to get these fields ready. But between the cows and sheep and the grasslands, I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll be able to make some pretty good profits. I am on normal difficulty. I don't want to make this too hard. This is more a showcase of what could be done to offset the activities of farming that are detrimental to our environment. And by using the tools that are available in game. I thought of no better place to do this than Erlengrot. It's this pristine alpine landscape. It just seemed fitting for this series. So, and I've never played this map before, other than just poking around on it just here and there. I've never actually done a playthrough on this map, so I figured, why not? Let's give it a go. The one thing I noticed about this electric tractor is it does take some time to recharge. I had that over by the recharging station for a little while, and I did not get much juice back into the battery. So that's one thing that's concerning to me. I'm not sure what the recharge rate is on this thing. So if I get it down too low, I may have some time where I just have to sit around and wait. I want to try and get at least something done here, so that worst case we can let it charge and then hop over into another piece of equipment and do some other things. I have run across a lime production mod that is able to produce lime from the rocks, as well as has some solar panels. So I may end up getting that. I think it's around $15,000. So we're going to have to look at that and see if it's going to be worth it. That way we won't have to buy any lime. And I think it does produce a little bit of solar income, so that will be a good addition to the farm, I think. So probably get that at some point in the future. If there's other equipment or mods that you've run across that you think would be fitting for this playthrough, please leave me a comment below or hop on the Discord and let me know that way. So let me finish up this field here, I've done a lot of pre-activities just to try and get ready for this first episode. I did not want to spend the entire episode doing grass work because we have so much that needed to be done. And also going back to the bales that I had wrapped, wanted to mention the reason I went ahead and wrapped those is so that those would be the first down to the biogas plant. So that was one of the, try to get those wrapped just as quick as possible so that we can get those down there as soon as they turn into silage. And then that way we can use the bigger tractor if we chose to do some of our field work. So what I'll do is we'll get this hay made first for the cows because they need some food. And then we'll get it put up in the barn. And then the rest of the grass bales that are up on the upper level of the farm, we'll get those wrapped up as well. So how cool is the animation coming off the tedder? That is so cool. They've done a great job on some of the new animations for Farm Sim 22. So continuing on with some of the rules that I have made up for myself is I do intend to find myself $5,000 for any day that I use a diesel tractor or diesel equipment and don't have either materials down in the biogas plant or have not got to a point where we're producing enough clean energy to offset those activities. So 5,000 a day. And then another thing I'm going to do, and I know it's a little bit, some may think it's cheating, but I'm going to use store deliveries. And the reason is because there's a fee for the delivery. So I thought that that would be a good way to offset the cost of transportation because I had to pay the fee. Now I know I won't have to spend the time to run down and get the stuff myself, but I thought that that was a good way financially to kind of penalize myself for the transporting of goods and equipment. Let's see, how's this thing going to do on this hill here? That actually did really well. It flexed across the top of that hill with no problem. So like I said before, the electric tractor has done really well. As you can see here, it has no issues with the rake. It had no issues with the tedder. It ran the mower really well. I actually tried to put the rear mower on there as well, and it would not move with both mowers turned on. It carries around just fine, but would not move forward. So that would not work, but it did extremely well with just the front mower on. And so it has done really well. What really shocked me is the baler. I did not think it would run the baler, but it did. I've been able to do everything so far with this one electric tractor. This farm was a custom build. I did cut this hillside down, flatten it out to give me an area to build on. And I've placed everything. This is the third time recording this episode because of problems I ran into. So I've put a lot of time into this first episode. One of the issues I had was the cow pen. I'd started out with the cow pen, and you may have seen that in the intro. I was anticipating getting some slurry by using the slurry silo beside the cow pen. Well, just so you know, that does not work. They don't produce any slurry. So I had to back up and punt on that. I had to move some things around, and that's why I put in the cow barn there, so that I can get some slurry to be used on the fields. So it's been quite a setup here on this series. I've gone back and forth with some equipment. I finally settled in on some things. I almost did not start with a diesel tractor on the farm, but like I said, I did not want to make this a really difficult playthrough, so that's why I went ahead and got something that I can use and not have to spend a lot of money trying, or save up a lot of money trying to purchase something. But as you noticed during the equipment tour, I have no fieldwork implements. And the reason I did not buy anything yet, because I was not sure how much money we were going to make at the beginning, how much silage we would get off the fields or hay, so I wasn't sure what we would need. So I did not buy anything because I don't know what the next step will be. I do know we'll have to plow and get lime out and things such as that, but I just didn't know what it was going to take. So I didn't buy anything, no field work equipment. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to use the diesel tractor at that point, or if I was going to still be stuck with the electric tractor. So that's going to be interesting. I'll be curious to see how this first day or two in game goes and see what we end up making, because that's going to kind of determine what's the next step in this playthrough. So I'm going to continue on around this field. We'll get this raked up, and then we'll hop over into the baler, try and get some hay baled up for the animals. Alright, as you can see here, the little electric tractor is having no trouble pulling the baler around. I know it is on flat ground, but it still has no issues. So it is actually doing a great job. And I do like the electric transmission for baling, because whenever you have to stop and back up just a bit for the baler to unload, it's really easy. You don't have to wait for the tractor to shift gears. So that actually works out really well. I did have the duals on this little tractor, and I think it actually works better with the duals on it, but it was a little bit wide for using the wrapper. I had to be a little bit more cautious coming up beside the bales, so I went back to the singles here. I have the Midas, the wider tires on there, so it works out pretty good. Could use a little bit more traction going up the hills, but all in all, I can't complain too much because it is doing really well. So I have this one stretch here, and then down around beside the house and back up the hill just a ways, and then I'll be done with the baling here. One thing that I'm not sure about that I did not test is the bale trailer. I'm curious to see if this little tractor can pull the bale trailer around, especially when it's loaded down with bales. So that is going to be interesting to see how it handles it. I would think it's a little large for this tractor, but it's doing so well with the baler here. I just feel like it's going to work okay. So we'll get this last little stretch here done, and then we'll be able to put the baler up. We'll see about getting these hay bales picked up, and then I'll move up the hill there and get some wrapping done. I'm not going to make another bale there, so we'll go with that. Quite a few bales off of this field, so the cows will be happy. I do like the gravel sounds. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but when the tractors drive on the gravel, they make like a crunching sound over the rocks. This is really neat. Also, that shirt there was white, but I had to wear it today because it was washed with some red clothes by my wife, and there it is now pink, so I have a pink shirt. I definitely can tell there's weight back there. It did not accelerate away from the barn very well. I'm got it full throttle right now and it's struggling just a little bit, but I think it's gonna be okay pulling it. We may have trouble going up the hill on the mountain there. Let's see what happens here. Just picking that up. No problem there. It's actually accelerating quite quickly now. Maybe okay. I'm quite surprised by this. So you notice there in the money, we started with 75,000, now up to 75,062. And the reason is the shed, that is the open shed, has solar panels and it does generate a small amount of income. Now this is working out really well. Quite pleased with this. Oh, almost missed that one there. I do have to say that this trailer does operate a little bit faster than it did in 19. Seems like it gets the bales loaded and reset much quicker. Hopefully I won't fall off the edge there. Yeah, it's okay. So we're about halfway full here on the trailer. A little over halfway full. Now one of these was a grass bale. Let me see. I think that's the grass bale. Let me double check here real quick. Yeah, that's grass. Let's see if this says hay. Yeah. So I don't want to pick that bale up because we're going to need to wrap it. Alright, let me zoom out just a bit here and just pan around the field. I think we've got everything except for these last two here. I believe that's it. It does appear so. Alright, so we'll get that closed up. And I'm going to go ahead and unload this into the barn. Oh, it is. I can definitely feel the weight now. Much slower to accelerate. Alright, let's get this backed up here. We'll try to keep it as close to the wall as possible. I think that arm is going to come down when I unload, so I want to make sure I have clearance for that. Let me inch it over just a small little bit. Probably be good there, so we'll get this unloaded. I believe it's going to push them back off the trailer. And there we go. Wow, that actually worked out really well. Alright, so now I'm going to hook up to the wrapper, but what I need to do first before I get going is I want to change the color of the wrap so that I don't get those old bales that are wrapped mixed up with these new ones. I am concerned about my charge here on the tractor. Need to be mindful of that because if it runs down, I don't know how I will get it out of the field and down to the charger. So we'll get that disconnected there, and then we'll hook up to the wrapper, which is right over here. And this tractor is so nimble. It is so nimble. Alright, so quickly run over here and change the color on the wrapping. We'll change that to pink to match my shirt. Oh, let's see, hang on. We have the turner on the end. I don't know why that resets every time. Oh, and I need to reconnect. Oh, and we'll go ahead and get this one done here. Get it unfolded. And I will carry it on up to the others so I don't have to come back down here to pick it up. Oh my goodness. I hit a light. There are lights around that tree area. And I just whacked into one. Alright, so we get that unloaded right there. And we'll just nudge this bale out of the way. Let's see, where are we going up here? And I did get the flipper here so that it drops them on their ends. And that way they don't go rolling away. However, the baler does not have that feature, so I've had to chase a few down and get them turned a little so they don't go rolling. Hopefully this one don't flip all the way over. Yeah, that worked out just fine. So what I'll do is I'm going to finish up this field. We're going to run around and wrap all of these bales. So we have the pink ones and the blue ones. So the blue ones will be ready first because it takes 2 days to ferment. So we'll have those available in 2 game days to go down to the biogas plant. Let's run over here and take a look at one of them and see how far along they are. So they are 12% fermented. So quite a ways to go. So then we'll have 2 batches of silage available and can start taking it down to the biogas plant. I haven't decided yet what my limit is going to be on taking bales down for each day. I don't know if it's going to be maybe 5 or 10 bales a day to take down as a requirement to not take the penalty for using the diesel tractors. But we'll kind of fill that out as we go along and see what makes the most sense. So anyhow, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope it's a neat concept. If you have any ideas or thoughts or input, please feel free to leave me a comment below. I do want to take a moment to thank each of you for the support this past year. Without you, my channel wouldn't be where it is today. So I do appreciate it, sincerely appreciate it. So I do want to wish each of you a very Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the time spent with your families. Enjoy the gifts and the good food, but most of all, please remember the true meaning of the Christmas holiday. It's not about presents. It's not about food. It's about the birth of Jesus Christ. Wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe, and we will see you back here next time.